Ukrainian troops have liberated the settlement of Vasil in Dobrapil direction of southeastern Zaporizhzhia region with the use of robots. Ground-based robotic complexes with machine guns and tanks were used during the assault on Russian invaders in the settlement. The footage of the operation shared on Telegram channel shows AI-powered military equipment opening continuous fire at Russian positions. Ukraine and Russia have been increasingly using robots in the front line. Ukraine carried out its first documented all-robot assault against Russian positions in December 2024. It should be noted that most of Zaporizhzhia region has been under the Russian occupation since 2022 when Russia started full-fledged invasion of the country.
Russian command is increasing the use of suicide squads to try to infiltrate Pokrovsk and reach its outskirts, with the Ukrainian defense on high alert. 80% of the Russians are destroyed even before reaching the town, with deceived migrants and forcibly mobilized Ukrainian separatists being thrown into the meat grinders as cannon fodder and acceptable casualties, says RFU News. It is noted that Russian forces recently attempted one of their most ambitious infiltration missions yet to penetrate Pokrovsk from the south. Using Pishchany as a forward base, the Russian command formed 3 tactical groups of 50 men each, tasked with sabotage inside the city. Their goal was to sow panic behind the front line and force Ukrainian units to abandon positions, as has happened in other settlements along the front. RFU News says that the infiltration route took 14 days in total. 4 to reach Pishchany's industrial zone used as a launch point, and another 10 to creep towards the main streets in southern Pokrovsk. Moving roughly 600 kilometers per day to avoid detection, they relied on drone drops for food, water and communication updates. Despite careful coordination, camouflage ponchos and preloaded route trackers, Ukrainian drones intercepted and eliminated most of the saboteurs. As of the original 150 infiltrators, around 120 were killed before even reaching their objectives, as confirmed by geolocated footage. The remainder were hunted down inside the city, with Ukrainian units releasing more footage of how some of the Russians surrendered, while others were eliminated in close combat. The cost to Russia was staggering, as the operation incurred roughly 80% casualties just to reach Pokrovsk, not counting those later captured or killed after arrival. While a handful of infiltrators ambushed Ukrainian units, the mission failed to achieve its operational aim. The Ukrainian Defense Forces not only retained control, but also captured dozens of enemy troops. Fighters of Ukraine's 425th Skala Separate Assault Regiment took 32 prisoners over a week of clearing operations alone. Video evidence from the town shows Russian infiltrators being cleared from buildings and hiding spots, their weapons seized as trophies, according to RFU News. Yet, such attritional losses have not dissuaded Russian commanders. On the eastern flank of Pokrovsk, where fighting is intensifying, Moscow is preparing more expendable suicide squads. An entire brigade here is being staffed with deceived migrants from Central Asia and Donetsk People's Republic volunteers, most of whom are forcibly mobilized men from Russian-controlled Donetsk. These units, poorly trained and often unwilling, are tasked with advancing toward Pokrovsk's eastern outskirts to overwhelm defenses through sheer numbers. RFU News says, since 2014, many DPR formations have been filled with marginalized individuals and criminals, commanded by Russian officers. Now, this volatile mix is being hurled into the bloodiest sector of the front, with minimal expectations of survival, with these migrants and separatists being seen as expendable by Russian command. The brutality extends up to the chain of command, as reports from Russian military analysts indicate that separatist officers who question orders or show reluctance to sacrifice their men in large numbers often simply disappear. More than 100,000 Russian troops in Pokrovsk direction, part of them destroyed, but the enemy is pulling up forces. The spokesman for the OSGT Dnipro, Viktor Trehubov, said this on television. Some of them have been knocked out, but they are really pulling up troops. So now it is impossible to estimate exactly up to 1,000. Especially since the Pokrovsk direction has actually split into Pokrovsk and Dobropilya directions. And there is also an active transfer of troops from Novopavlivsk. For the Russians, this is basically the same operational area. Therefore, as of now, we will assume that their number is about the same, more than 100,000 in total. This is a very large number for such a scale, and it is enough to attack a European country, not just one unfortunate little Pokrovsk. Trehubov said, according to him, such a large number of Russian troops demonstrates the importance of this direction for the Russians. Recall in the Pokrovsk sector, the 1st Azov Corps of the National Guard of Ukraine, together with adjacent and subordinate units, cleared the villages of Ruski, Rubizne, Novovodiane, Petrivka, Vesele, and Zoloty Kolodiaz of Russian invaders. It is noted that over the past 3 days, in the defense zone along the Pokrovsk direction, the Azov Corps, together with other units, halted the enemy's advance. Ruske, Rubizne, Novodian, Petrivka, Vesele, and Zoloty Kolodiaz were cleared as a result of search and strike operations. In the operational zone of the Azov Corps, the Russian army suffered significant personnel losses: 271 irrecoverable casualties, 101 wounded, and 13 captured. The invaders also lost a substantial amount of equipment and weaponry: 1 tank, 2 armored fighting vehicles, 37 units of automotive and motorized equipment, and 3 artillery pieces were destroyed or damaged. Stabilization operations in the Dobropilya sector are ongoing. As previously reported by Ukrinform, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine stated that the city of Pokrovsk in the Donetsk region has already been cleared of Russian sabotage and reconnaissance groups. Earlier, reports emerged that Ukraine was continuing a large-scale effort to strengthen its defensive lines in what officials describe as the most ambitious fortification program since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion.